Okay, recently I did a survey about nuclear energy. I went around, walking around my city, and I asked hundreds of people basically whether they think nuclear energy is clean and is a viable energy source for the UK, and 40% of people answered. Now, I sent my survey to the House of Commons and I've got a response from the House of Commons. In that 40%, by the way, the people that said yes or no, a large percentage said yes, and that they actually want nuclear energy and they actually understand it, and some of the people that said no actually changed their mind, which reduced the percentage, but I kept the percentage for the no's as what their first reaction was, because let's face it, instant reactions are the ones that you're going to get. Now, I sent a letter to them telling them that people want it. I explained how I would want nuclear energy to be implemented in a safe manner, and I got a letter back saying that basically this political party supports offshore wind power, tidal and marine energy, solar and sustainable bioenergy, and carbon capture. Now, offshore wind power I say no to, because of the mechanical aspect of it. It's going to break and it's going to need to be repaired, which is going to be a repair bill, a constant repair bill, and it's out in the ocean. So tidal and marine energy, exactly the same. The repair bill is going to outweigh its benefits. Solar energy, yes, but only if it's linked to energy storage in the home and not energy storage in reservoirs. So I'm talking batteries in the house to store the energy that you don't use, and not energy storage in reservoirs, which is ridiculous. And then you've got sustainable bioenergy and carbon capture. Well, how sustainable is this bioenergy going to be if you use all the arable land to grow the fuel and then stop growing food on that land? Because that's what's happening basically. And carbon capture, well, the implications of carbon capture haven't been realised in science yet, but I'm not a doomsayer, right? And I'm quite willing to, go with new technologies. But the recent activities of fracking with big earthquakes going on, who wants to disturb the Earth's crust? Who wants to? It's going to be not in my backyard, isn't it? If we want some carbon capture, let's stick some carbon capture under Buckingham Palace and see if the Queen says yes or no to that. That's what I say to that. Unless she's going to be willing to have some underneath her palace, and Sandringham and all the palaces. Do you have a bit of carbon capture? Do you want a bit of carbon capture underneath your places? No? Why should other people have carbon capture underneath their houses? Is it going to create more radon gas? Is it going to disturb the aquifers and lower the aquifers? Have they got a clue? Basically. But I don't know, if you want to try it, fine, go ahead and try it. It's going to be quite funny watching it. And then this party quote that nuclear and clean fossil fuels have a vital role to play in the shift to a lower carbon economy. This party in government will support a new generation of nuclear power stations and a programme for clean coal plants with carbon capture and storage. So they're going to support nuclear power stations and clean coal. Obviously you have to go and read their manifestos to see who this is. Now, clean coal is not clean really, is it? Let's face it. It's quite expensive to dig the crap out of the ground. When you dig the crap out of the ground, you dig other radioactive elements out of the ground as well, so you have to deal with them as you dig them out, or just burn them. And what they do is they pretend like the radioactive elements aren't there and they just burn them, which makes the slag heaps which is going to be the carbon capture, slag heaps, and they're everywhere, still radioactive. Now, it's been recently announced that there's a review in politics, and the report is due in 2012. And this MP from the House of Commons has stated, "I will make sure your concerns about building nuclear power stations in Britain are fed into the process." Now, I haven't got any concerns about building nuclear power stations. What I've done is I've offered some suggestions, because I've gone out and I've got the public to sign a petition. Basically, I got them to say it on dictaphone, because people won't sign stuff, so they'll talk to you willingly. So I did a dictaphone survey, which is a bit sneaky, but at least I got people's honest answers on dictaphone. And let's face it, if we have nuclear reactors in today's society, when there's terrorism all over the place, and we've just been to war and stirred up some more crap for ourselves, and then we're about to go into Iran as well and create more hassle for ourselves, I've suggested that we need to be putting phalanx type or gatekeeper type defences around these places and double wall. So the initial wall will contain a nature reserve, the second wall will be a boundary wall where if you climb over the second wall you're going to get phalanxed or gatekeepered. Which is fine, because you're going to climb over the first wall for a start, and then that'll be like a nature reserve. So if your dog gets into it, well, that's your fault for letting off the lead in that particular place where you're not supposed to. Don't let your dogs off the lead for a start, yeah? And if it goes into it, then you have to wait for it to get out, or press the buzzer and wait for one of the guards to come and get your dog out, because there's going to be foxes and badgers and all sorts of stuff around the nuclear power stations, because it's clean, there's no crap coming out of it. And then inside the second wall, it's obviously, don't go in there, there's nothing in there, it's like concrete. And I've also suggested to have the new nuclear deterrent in there as well, in the power stations, but obviously putting the two together is a strategic no-no, unless you do it correctly. So hopefully that's what she means by offering my concerns to the thing, because if she puts any of my other concerns, like I've explained that I know the dangers of nuclear energy and then missed out the rest of the good suggestions, I'll be very disappointed. And that's the kind of thing you get from the House of Commons. If you do something, get a bit proactive, you get a response. And I got a response. And hopefully what I've done will bring some nuclear energy to the United Kingdom, some more nuclear energy, because 18% is piss poor. It should be 50, 60, 80% nuclear. It should be all nuclear, apart from the renewable, proper renewable. Now when I say renewable, I mean solar and wind and wave. I don't include bio in that, bioethanol and biodiesel and biofuels, because that's not renewable. Doesn't matter what you say, it's not renewable, it's taken awayable. Again, it takes away from the human chain, because like I said, renewable energies are renewable, i.e. solar and wind and wave, whereas bio is taking a lot of arable land, growing food which could be eaten by humans or animals to get more food from animals, if you see what I'm saying, and then wasting that food in cars and boats and power stations, burning it, when we could have nuclear power stations not having to burn anything. And fissile nuclear power stations should be over unity, with a process known as FBR, which is called fast breeder reactor, along with HWR, I think it is, hot water reactors or heavy water reactors. With those two reactors side by side, the fuel process is closed. the FBR reactors are 60% more efficient than our current reactors that we've got. And we've got breeder reactors, not fast breeder reactors. Ours are magnesium reactors. So, I vote nuclear. And I vote that we destroy all the coal power stations, leave all the gas power stations intact, because let's face it, a coal-fired power station isn't hard to build again. The gas-powered stations, well, we're just going to build some new gas platforms in the sea, so we might as well use the gas, haven't we? Get rid of the coal crap. The coal is dirty and needs carbon capture. We don't want that. We need the gas power stations, because we're going to start digging gas and oil out now. It's going to happen. And nuclear. There's no point in spending loads of money researching carbon capture. They might as well spend that money in universities getting people to research carbon capture. They might as well spend that money researching better fissile reactors and better fusion reactors. Because carbon capture is just a load of bollocks. It's a waste of time and a waste of money. And I'll put money on that. I'll bet you. I'll bet you that carbon capture is a big fiasco. It may be looking good for a start, made to be look good by the pricks that did it, but in the long term, you'll go, those fucking fools that did carbon capture are a bunch of fucking pricks. That's what you'll say. I'm telling you, that's what your kids will be saying. Oh, why didn't our parents stick up for it? Why didn't they stand up? Well, they stood up in anti-nuclear protests and stopped the nuclear reactors being built 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Just because of 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl, which are 2 accidents which, well, one of the Russians let people go back into Chernobyl now. Let's see how many people die as an experiment. If you want me to, I'll do. Yeah, you're going to give me a job there, I'll go over there, I'll do some fucking work and live in Chernobyl. I don't fucking care. Let's go and do the experiment.